Hey, what's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. Yesterday, I had the very rare and unique opportunity to interview not only the most influential person in the world of precious metals, but also for myself being a silver stacking YouTube channel. Since 2015, I've been making daily videos, and I can't even express how many videos I've made covering something of David Morgan's, whether it's an interview, whether it's an article, whether it's a topic he's brought to the table. I've made countless videos. And to be able to speak with him, conversate, us having a normal chat and ask him all these different questions that I've been longing to hear was absolutely incredible. And if you didn't watch the full interview, I highly recommend you do. This interview was jam packed with substance. I put timestamps throughout the interview of each topic we talked about, and there's probably 10 to 15 timestamps within that hour period. Just topic after topic, straight to the point, just so much substance to grasp it and to really break down and analyze. The main question I want to focus in this video is when I asked him what price he's willing to throw in the towel, let go of his silver. I asked him, David, are you willing to sell at $100, $200? What price are you willing to let go? And that's a very good question. I mean, have you ever thought about that? What price you're willing to sell at? When silver hits $50, will you sell? When silver hits $150, would you sell? And to ask someone like that type of question, I was really curious. And the way he actually answered it was just as I imagined. Now, I'm going to show a snippet of the interview and how he responded, but I do have to give a little context before leading up to that question. We mentioned the overpriced aspect of silver, and he said an ounce of gold back in the day could get you a suit, nice shoes, wristwatch, yada yada. An ounce of gold can still get you that today. But he says when an ounce of gold can buy you half Men's Warehouse, that's when you know it's overpriced. See, he didn't compare it to fiat. He didn't compare it to dollars. He compared it to something else, tangible, which is a very smart idea. An ounce of silver back in the day could get you a gallon of gas. That ounce of silver can still get you a gallon of gas today. But when an ounce of silver can buy you a Tesla, that might be overpriced. See what I'm saying? And that was a very smart way to look at it, but he goes deeper into it. That's what he said before I asked this question. So I'm about to play that part of the interview. I highly recommend you watch the full thing. I'll link it in the description. Also, if you want to subscribe, I highly recommend it. David wants to come back on the channel more often. I'm also doing a massive giveaway once I hit 60,000 subscribers. You don't want to miss it. And this is where I want to go. The overvalued price, how you said silver should be able to buy you this and this, but when it can buy you a Men's Warehouse or half of it, then you trade it. What is for you? What is the price you throw in the towel? Is it $200? Like, have you ever thought about an actual
Oh
price?
yeah, no, I'm gonna scale out. So, let's just say that the dollar in the future is worth what it is now, which it won't be. So I think 100 is a reasonable expectation. So I'll probably scale out some at 100, but not all. And then if it gets to 200 or 150, I'll scale out more and 200 more. So I have a plan in place. Of course, there's amount I'll keep, for my legacy, for my two girls and my dad.
Yeah.
But that aside, no, I'll scale out into what's the opportunity. It could be stocks. I doubt it at that time. Probably be land, raw land, perhaps, maybe improved land, and always a good business. There's always, a good business. For example, like dry cleaning. Most dry cleaners are cash cows. Most dry cleaners make
Oh,
money.
yeah.
So there's opportunities if you know where to look. I like having, the business aspect of it, but I'm talking real business, not holding a stock certificate that's a partial owner of the
Right.
business, although I'm not against that either. But yeah, there'll be opportunities. It's just, and silver isn't a religion, but it should be. I know I just contradicted myself. The reason I say it should be is because there's events like are taking place in front of our eyes, And situations that we're facing as a population on the planet only occur several hundred years in scale that we're looking at. And in those times is when you need to stack silver. There are other times where it was in the monetary sphere. If you didn't own silver, you didn't have any money at all. The only way you could pay for something was with a silver dime or silver quarter or silver dollar. That's the only thing you could use. And yet here we are 100 years later, approximately. And, silver is not even in the monetary sphere of almost,
Yeah.
the 9999
Yeah.
point 999.
Yeah. So I know we got to wrap up here soon. I have one more question, and this is the big one. I'll share my prediction first, and then I'd like to hear yours. So I was actually interviewing Andy Schechtman a couple weeks ago, and I talked about triple digit silver. And my guess is by the year 2025, I think that's when we'll be deep enough into the new Green Deal where we can't hide the slide the silver shortage under the rug. I feel like by that time, industry will be well aware that we don't have enough of this thing called silver. I feel like that's just when it'll be blatantly obvious. I think by then, that's a realistic. I don't want to be one of those people that says triple, $100 silver in 3 months. I want to be realistic to my audience. So I say 2025, maybe even 2026. But then Andy Schechtman, he said, everything I mentioned, he said, you're exactly right, but it could be a lot sooner. And then he goes into the financial side, the petrodollar, all this other stuff that I had no idea about, honestly. But what's your time frame?
Well,
Triple
I've
digits.
done several lectures on 90% of the move comes in the last 10% of the time. If you go from 1979 January to 1980 January, it went from $6 to 50. It was an over eightfold or 800% increase. And that's the kind of move silver can make. Will it do it again? Yes, I think it will. Will it be eightfold? I don't know. But what I do know is that once the monetary demand catches it, there's no holding it back for some time until it gets overvalued or who knows what else could happen. The projection I have is it's going to be good for the rest of the year. I mean, we might see a spike low here in the next month. I doubt much longer than that. There's a lot of factors. The commitment of traders, the backwardation, and the lease rates are all signaling very strongly, if you're paying attention, that now is the time to buy silver. If you're reluctant, then buy half. You want to catch the exact bottom, be my guest. It's hard to pick a bottom, believe me. I know.
Mm.
I've done it well through the years, but not the exact bottoms are pure luck. But it's low enough now to buy it. So I think we're going to see a good end of the year from now to the end of the year. I think 2023 we're going to be between 30 and 50, and I think 2024 is when we're going to get the blow off top. So I'm a couple years in advance of you, and as the blow off top 100 or 600. I mean, let's get back to 50 first, okay, folks? Let's get through 30, 33. We'll probably accelerate up to 50. It'll probably bounce off because of
Yeah.
that magic
That
triple digit,
resistance. Yeah.
triple bottom, or excuse me, triple top. And there'll be a lot of the mainstream that say, see, silver can never make it above 50, and silver people are out of their minds, and blah, 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 blah. And then it will regroup and it'll bust through 50. And once it busts through 50, God only knows where it will
Oh
go.
yeah.
And could be, I wrote it go to 100, I think, in 2003. So,
It should
I'm
have
on
been.
record, and yeah, there's a lot of reasons you could argue could, should be there. It's not, it's an opportunity, and not enough people see the opportunity. And, don't be a hoarder, be a somewhat of a hoarder, but also be a giver.
So you can see David is just a great guy. I love the way he thinks. I love the way he breaks things down and puts it into perspective. And I agree. I definitely agree. I would like to ask you though. Now, I've talked about triple digit silver, and I always say by the year 2025. But I never really talk about what price I would sell at. Do you know what price you would sell at? I want to give you the floor. Comment down below. I think for me, it definitely depends. There's so many variables. I mean, when am I going to sell? 5 years? Are we talking about silver's price in 5 years? Or are we talking about in 20 years? And have you ever even thought about what price you would sell at? Have you ever thought about how long until you're going to sell? I'm 30 years old, so I don't have to sell for another 30 years, where someone else might be 65. So that plays a big part. What type of silver do you have? I mean, there's so many things. For me, though, I think I'd probably go more of the route of when that price is considerable for me. What is the dollar's value? What could I buy with that ounce? And that's really something I just learned from David, is comparing it to that Men's Warehouse thing. When an ounce of gold can buy you half a Men's Warehouse, that means it's probably overvalued. But if it can only buy you the same thing it could back in the day, you might want to wait a little bit. If an ounce of silver can buy you something, worth 10,000 times of what it is today, it might be overvalued. And that was an exaggerated number, but you get what I'm saying. If you compare it to something else tangible besides just dollar terms, it makes it easier to put in perspective of when you could let it go. And that's something I just now learned. And also, another thing he mentioned was when I was talking about triple digit silver, he said something very important. When I said 2025, he said, yeah, it could be a lot sooner. And that's because 90% of the run happens the last 10% of the time. Like for example, if silver's gonna hit, or like he said actually in 1980, 1979, silver was $6 and then hits $50, you know, not even a year later. That's how it could happen today. You don't have to think of it as, well, silver would hit $100 in 3 years. If it breaks past 50, let's say it breaks past $50, within the next couple of months, it could have a huge, huge explosion. And like he said, 90% of the price happens within 10% of the time. So that's another thing you really got to consider, is it wouldn't be that crazy if silver did hit $100 within the next year or so, because it would be so fast. It wouldn't be a gradual pace. Now, would it last at that point if it happened, that fast? No, but that's usually what it looks like. And if you want to continue to hold silver at $100, it would have to be more gradual. It has to build price stability. Regardless, though, those were some really interesting points he brought up, and that's why I idolize this guy. That's why it was such a great conversation. I highly recommend you go check out the full interview, and hopefully I'll have him back on. He mentioned that he definitely does want to come back on after we were talking. So I think it's so cool to be able to conversate with people like this. Even for him to even know who I am is pretty crazy. You guys might be like, "What are you talking about, Silver Slayer?" This guy's been on Fox Business. This guy's been in mainstream TV news. He's constantly on Kitco. I mean, this guy's famous. Maybe you're kind of new to the stacking world, but this guy, there's nobody bigger than him when it comes to investing into the world of precious metals, even beyond just precious metals. So, anyways, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to subscribe, please do. Go enter my giveaway. The entry video is open. You don't want to miss it. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you want to purchase silver from Miles Franklin, which actually David Morgan's partnered with, Andy Scheckman is the CEO, and he runs the company. Send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let him know what you want. Tubes of Eagles, generics, bars, whatever. Andy will hook you up. Great guy. Never had a negative complaint. They've been in business for 45 years and never had a negative complaint. Let him know Silver Slayer sent you. Andy will be happy to hear it. I can guarantee that. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.